It's Friday, which means it's another hashtag Ask Alex. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody wherever in the world you may be. I have had an interesting week. I've had a very busy week, and the next couple of weeks are going to be crazy with my travel. So keep an eye out for that. But today I want to talk about behaviours, and I've had some amazing conversations, but also kind of been astounded by some of the conversations I've had to have in showing what I perceive to maybe be the basics of how to use social and the basics of how to use LinkedIn, or when I get asked questions around, okay, so that's all great with the theory, but how do I do that? How do we actually do that? How do we actually implement this as an organisation? And whilst kind of this world of sales and marketing is getting swept away with technology and AI this and AI that and automation and so on and so forth, we've got to bring it back to the people. You've got to go back to basics. Alex Smith in Legal Design talks about hashtag bring back boring, and it is the hard yards. You've got to start thinking differently, but you've got to go and start talking to your sales teams. You've got to go and start talking to your marketing teams. You've got to actually understand where they're at in all of this, and it's evident that some of them, they don't understand. And that's not a bad thing, but it could well be that because they don't understand, they may well be fearful of going up the food chain internally to say, look, this isn't working what we're doing at the moment. I don't understand this new world order, but their fear of actually doing that, because senior management would say, but we've always done it this way and this is the way that worked for me. Well, that worked 20 years ago, but the research is now showing that it's not working today. And the latest Simon Kemp State of the Nation Data Digital 2019, the stats are mind-blowing. If we take ad blockers, for example, just over 2 billion people on this planet have installed ad blockers. Primarily it's more in Asia than it is in the West, but that means 2 billion people are never going to see your paid for content and never going to see your sponsored posts, ever. So we've got to start thinking differently. We've got to break it down. We've got to bring it back to basics and start talking to your teams. Give them the freedom to say, you know what, tell me what you think. If it's not working, that's cool. Let's figure something out. Let's start thinking differently. Let's start getting out of the way of ourselves, getting out of the way of our own egos in terms of what we think is working, and just open your minds just a little bit, or I think you'd be amazed as to what is out there. And actually, dare I say it, how simple this is. It's not complicated. So please, 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 if you're a sales leader, a marketing leader, whomever, give your teams voices, but allow them to admit failure, allow them to admit they don't know, allow them to admit that they may be scared of this new world order. Maybe you yourself have to admit this. Take a look in the mirror and maybe admit that it's time to think a little bit different about the way things are. I hope you found that insightful. As ever, happy to answer any questions, but until next time, have a good weekend.